Donna? You
Just
ready?
Yep, well, Keith, are you presenting it or am I?
Well, I will I'll go over the line items and you can chime in at any moment throughout the process and
Okay.
just correct me if need be.
The budget
Sounds good.
presentation now open. General Manager, the floor is yours.
Muchas gracias. Okay, so can it, we need to increase that just a little bit. Yeah, that's better. You see that okay, Donna?
Yep.
Okay, all right, so. First thing we're gonna go over are the wages and the wages.
For people who have the paper copy, this is not the first page.
No, it's the second page.
It's the second big page.
Yeah, the second.
Yeah,
Ledger side.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah.
do.
exactly.
Because all of a sudden I see people looking at the first page and it's like, oh.
Right. The wages were set by the board of directors August of this year. So these are the results of those wages that were approved. And our administrative management totals are $152,398. Our maintenance department is at $102,440. Our clubhouse is at $58,244 for total wages of $313,082. That's about a 4% increase over 2022. The payroll contingency, this is to cover overtime for our staff. And this number has increased only because the wages increased. So wages increase, so does the overtime amounts.
The point is the number of hours
Yeah.
have not increased.
The hours have not changed, the pay has.
Yeah.
That is correct. Payroll taxes, again, those are just based on all of these figures here. These are the current numbers that we currently are using. Our IRA, this is a retirement fund that the association pays 2% of an employee's gross wages. And we've got our administrative staff is contributing, as well as our maintenance, and Connie is also contributing. And if we do hire a new employee, we have accounted for that contribution as well.
So Keith,
Yes,
one question, we pay for the IRAs, we pay 2% of their salary regardless of whether they contribute or not.
exactly. Yes. Yep. And then they have the option to contribute an additional amount if they choose to.
Excuse me, do they get that amount contributed by the association, even if they don't contribute anything?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
That is correct. And it's tax deferred. Next is our medical insurance.
I'm sorry,
No,
one other quick question.
It's okay, we'll go back.
Are they immediately vested or is there a vesting period with that?
They're not immediately vested, no. I'm not quite sure.
Is there probation for an employee before they can get the IRA?
Right, so, yeah, so it's usually 1 quarter, the quarter after they're hired, then they'll be able to immediately start.
But the question is, when is it vested?
I'm not,
It's not, and as I recall, it was not immediate.
I'm not.
Right,
Yeah.
So I mean, if they leave after 6 months,
They take it with them.
oh, that's
Yeah.
vested then.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay,
so,
they're
so,
immediately vested.
yeah, they take it with them and do whatever they want with
Yeah,
it.
that's vested.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Medical insurance, administration, that's, 2 employees, one, with his, that's me, and my spouse are part of that plan, and then police is on the, other side of that plan. Maintenance is, actually 3 policies there, Shane and his spouse, and then the other one accounts for Christopher. And so now, the one thing that surprised me when we got our renewals is our policy only increased by 3.26%.
Whoa,
That's it.
whoa.
It was just incredible. I
I
was,
Congratulations.
well, I'll be honest with you, I didn't believe it. I actually called Region and was on hold for 30 minutes, waiting for them to tell me that what I was seeing was actually correct.
Wow.
I needed them to tell me that it was
Yes, right.
correct. And I was stunned. I kind of made a joke at the finance committee meeting about it, and it actually came true.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so our medical insurance is down 12% at 59,971. So,
But remember that while that reflects only a 3% increase in
in
the
the
premium cost.
right, it's
It's deals, yeah,
yeah, so the employee is contributing a percentage of that as well, so,
but our total insurance bill is down
yes,
because of the change in the mix
yes,
of what the employees are taking.
that's right. That's right.
So I mean, it isn't necessarily a,
Yeah, I get it.
you know,
Yeah.
Are you keeping track of chat questions?
Yeah, there's nothing,
Okay, good.
there's nothing yet, so with all of that factored in, our total payroll with benefits, $415,325. That's up 2%. So I think that that's not bad. It's controlling our costs, and I'll have to say that this is our contributor here.
and point out that the salary increases for our lowest paid employees,
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
actually went up a hefty chunk.
We
The
did.
entry level stuff
We
is
did,
the only way we get people to come in the door,
that's right.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's recognizing the change in the environment that we were living in.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. This has been an eye opening year for us in those regards. All right, so we'll go deep into the expense portion of the budget, and we'll start off with the administrative line items. Our goods are at 11,694. That's down slightly. And the reason why it's down slightly is because we only have one meeting where we can limit our supplies. So naturally, we don't have an annual meeting in July, and we don't have a budget meeting. We just have a meeting in December. So we were able to really look at our total costs and be much more reasonable with those figures. Naturally, I think the biggest line item expenditure in the admin goods is our parking permit, hang tags, and so those are about $2,500 annually to get those printed out. Costs did go up, but this number covers those costs, and so those have already been ordered. So the next is services. So we have our shred every other month. This is also our third-party elections company, Elections Trust, $3,000. And you kind of see where we were in 21. That's when we were budgeting for 2 meetings. Now we're not. And so that's a big difference. And what we also put in here is a shredding event that will be put on for our members to come in and drop off their shredding material next year. It'll be for 3 hours, at $900. So it's a 3-hour minimum, $300 an hour for $900. So we'll make sure that we plan this accordingly. We'll give the option of people that want to drop off their stuff. Some people don't like to do that. They're very personalized with their paperwork, and that's fine. Or they can meet the truck when it's sitting there, so they can do it in several different options. But we're going to bring that back. We got a lot of comments why we didn't do it this year, so we feel that it's definitely affordable.
Approximately what time of the year?
Probably around the month of April, tax season.
Springtime.
Yeah.
Tax season. Okay.
Yeah, right around tax season, so that's a good time for that. Next is our admin.
Oh, I have a question, Keith. On the satellite phones, should we probably move that to the EPC budget in the future or leave it right where it is?
Historically, it's been in the utilities,
Okay.
and rather than make it, yeah, we covered this once before, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's just a good place for it. Utilities, just internet, power, cell phones, water from the PUD, and obviously our sat phones. And one of the drivers here is our power rates went up. Hang on a second, that might be no, that is a correct number. I thought I had my number wrong. Power rates went up to 0.1055. That was a noticeable increase. Our water rates and our sewer rates are current and correct. So these rates were really the driver of this slight increase. So our admin line items went up about 6.2%.
Are you on Bud Sewer? Or septic?
Here,
No.
He's still on utilities there.
we're on, are you talking which facility? Oh, yeah, admin, yeah, we're on the, we have our own septic and Cloud
Thank you.
manages that.
That's
Yeah,
all.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Because you said sewer, and I'm going.
Yeah,
Okay. That was all.
Yeah, they test it and dump it for us. The next is our beach and dock. The goods is just float hardware, Fido bags, BPI, briskets. Those are just little donuts that we throw into the lagoon and it kills the mosquito larvae. We've been doing, it's environmentally safe. We've been doing it for about 20 years now. And if you ever went to the beach prior to that, you never want to go back to the beach. The mosquitoes were that bad. So we've been able to mitigate those mosquitoes. And for those long-term members that may be on here, you may remember that. We used to actually spray down there with an environmental, sage spray, but
It's been a while since we used to come to the timeshare all the time.
Yeah.
To vacation. And while we were here, for the most part, the beach was, haven't been here that long, so the beach was great for us.
Mhm.
But it was horrible coming across the grass there.
yes.
Is it better now, or? is
Yes.
there a way-
Yeah, it is better down here because we put bat boxes up.
Okay,
Yeah, we got about 4 bat boxes up here in the fir trees.
I didn't know whether it was possible to maybe spray the grass area up there
Well, you can
with the
throw.
same kind of stuff.
They have pellets in the same
Okay.
form that you can just throw in your grasses too to mitigate the mosquitoes. Great product though.
Bats do a great job.
Yeah. Services, this is just our, dumping our sandy cans. And, we have also allowed for extra services July through September, where they dump those, twice a month rather than once a month. Utilities, again, water rates $39.80 a month. And, the DNR lease, this is just, our annual fee that we pay DNR to have our floats and buoys and boat ramp there. Next line items is our clubhouse. Clubhouse goods, you'll probably notice that it's the same amount of money. How's that possible with inflation? Well, what we've done here at the clubhouse is we've actually gone through every single one of our cleaning products And we have actually limited a lot of those and just went to the basic cleaning products that allowed us to really essentially streamline our purchasing. And we're not buying, 10 different products where we just don't need to. So it worked very effectively for us this year. And we're going to continue that philosophy. Other costs there are uniforms that we purchase for our staff down here so that they know who they are walking around the facility. Services. That's just our heating services for our heat pumps, our propane water heater. We also get our laundry done by an outside vendor. And we have quarterly pest control that happens March through September. And we also have our AED unit that's in the foyer that gets serviced annually. Yes, Rick.
What is the propane for? And I noticed that you changed the propane for the pool to heat pumps. So what is what?
Right, so this particular line item, we have a propane water heater that's down there and that is what this service is for. We have a propane that heats the water right away. It goes through another hot water tank that disperses it throughout the facility.
So the heat pump doesn't heat the pool.
We're not talking about the pool.
Oh.
We're talking about, you asked about the hot water propane water heater. So that's
No, I
down-
was just trying to figure out, if
Yeah.
propane heats the water heater for what?
this building.
For the building.
Right, yeah, but we'll get to the
Bathroom
pool in a
showers.
minute. Yeah, all the water, your hot water, your showers,
Okay.
Yeah.
And the heat pump heats the pool.
exactly. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're in clubhouse still, so when we get to the pool, we'll kind of go over that.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's all right. The utilities. Again, our power rates, I just identified the power rates wherever we're using a lot of utilities. Sewer rates 32 and 39.80. And so our rates went up slightly because of those increases. Again, other expenditures is our internet provider as well as TV, and we're currently using a YouTube TV as to get people their channels.
If you keep.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Under the rate for power in the clubhouse is different from the rate for power in the admin.
Yeah, it is different. This facility is 3-phase.
Okay.
The admin is single phase, and
Okay.
there's a differentiation between the two buildings.
I mean, nothing gets past you. Right.
I hope I don't get put on that. And insurance, this is 25% of the property and liability insurance. So this is part of the timeshare agreement that we entered into many years ago. So our total clubhouse expenditure is $30,409, up 3%. All considering, not bad.
That's incredible.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Next is our pool and spa goods. This is for our disinfect, all of our chemical and supplies related to the pool and jacuzzi. Now, this actual number was up around 17,000 earlier in the year. When cost for bromine was in excess of $575 for a 50-pound bucket. We have, while I was out on vacation or sick, police was able to find me another vendor that actually gave me a better cost for a 50-pound bucket, getting our cost down to a reasonable number. So this was great timing for us, and it allowed me to limit the increase of this line item. And also, again, we looked at all of our pool supplies And we looked at them really hard to decide, what do we need, what do we not need? And so we're able to eliminate some and keep the most important ones to keep that pool as beautiful as it is. Because it's important that we do that, considering we spent a lot of money to get that refurbished, so that's at the top of our priority. Services, this is to service our pool heat pump as well as our jacuzzi heat pump, and to service our propane boiler and for our startup for the pool season. And so we only use our boiler for the startup. That's it, because propane is just too expensive. Electric is just more cost effective. So we get that fast rise in temperature, we shut it off, and we transfer back over to our heat pumps. And utilities, this is where the propane that we purchase resides. And let me just buzz over here real quick. So right now, our propane rate is $2.55 a gallon, and we budgeted about 2,100 gallons. We have 1,000 gallon propane tank. It takes about 800 gallons to top that thing off. It'll use one whole tank for the startup, and then we'll fill it back up again. And that'll carry us through into the fall, because we're still using the hot water, the propane hot water tank. And then in the fall, we top it off to carry us into the month of March, so that we never run out of propane. And we do, yeah, we have a contract with, well, not necessarily a contract, but we have an agreement with Sunshine where they will do our maintenance, and then we get a commercial rate for our propane, where we just get a good deal with it. So it's money well spent. So again, our utilities, and our propane costs, and our base rate for the water is all that. So we're increasing this line item by about 8%, and it's all in part to goods and well, actually, it's all three line items that have increased. So 8%. Anything you want to add yet, Donna? You good? I think.
Nope, we've been through it so many times, Keith. I think we know it by heart, so I'm good.
Indeed. All right. All right. So our next line items is our common area. This is the largest of our line items. It's where a lot of our expenses come from. And so we'll basically start off with the goods. It's at $17,435. So one of the big things here is our casseron. So we put pre-emergence casseron for, it's called casseron 4G. It's a commercial grade pre-emergence that we buy and we put down and on both of our RV lots, and we also put it around the perimeters of our tennis courts. And the cost per bag has skyrocketed to $200 per 50-pound bag. So it's really significant, unfortunately. And even so, other supplies have increased. Lumber to get an 8-foot 4x4, I think Shane quoted me in almost $30, I believe is what he quoted me.
Pressure treated, right?
So we're really watching. We have some projects that we want to do, but we're very mindful of the high costs. And so we're just trying to really do these projects very, very carefully. Let's see, where am I at? So let me just kind of show you some of our.
I think we should let police go shopping for pre-emergent.
Yeah.
And get her a finder's fee.
Right, so in this line item, we have our maintenance supplies, we have our weed control, our pesticides, our pre-emergence, we have our sand, in our crushed rock. On top of those, we now are being charged a gas surplus on top of the delivery. So that happened this year. And so there's just some added costs there. And then also in this line item is some money allocated for our street sign replacements. Services. This is to service our Sandy can right below us on tennis court 1 and 2.
I love my T's instead of four.
And also our buzz over here, our common tree removals. Our gate service fees. Again, our pest control, that's the company that comes in quarterly and does work around our administration buildings. We get our fire extinguisher service once a year. And again, I mentioned the sand cans. We also, in this line item, we reserve a lift that we get at A+ rental to trim the low-lying canopy on our trees. And we haven't been able to get to that for the last couple of years, just due to staffing. But we have that reserved for I think it's before, it might be before Thanksgiving, where we actually tackle that project. Next line item is utilities. This is pretty
I'm sorry,
straightforward.
Keith, good.
Yes,
I'm a little bit confused with the, under the goods.
good, it's good. Yes, this one here.
Well, I can't figure out what's services and what's goods.
Okay, the 17,435 is the goods. Donna, can you see us now?
Yeah, you just came back on, Keith. I saw the sheet come up, but then I just finally heard your voice. I was sending you a message. Yeah,
Okay.
we can see you now.
Great.
Yeah.
Probably telling us that we were
Well,
lost.
yeah. Okay,
So we left off at.
so at services, 9,300, right? So in this line item, we have common tree removals, again, the 40-foot lift that you talked about. Our gate maintenance, we do that twice a year, one in the time in the spring and the fall. So the fall, they not only do the service, but they turn on the heaters. We have heaters that are in the operators that keep that system functioning properly. And then they get the heaters turned off in the spring. So that's done twice a year. Again, fire extinguishers and our sanding cam services. Go away. Oh, hang on a second. I got it.
You don't know.
No sound, yeah, okay. I just couldn't see my tab here. Didn't get my tab here. Okay, so the next is our utilities, and this is our, 5340. So this accounts for our tele-entry system at the gate. We pay $100 a month for that phone service, as well as gate power. Also what's in this line item is our weekly dump runs. The Cala Heights tennis court water as well. So those are all factored into this line item. Again, rates went up, so the cost goes up. Equipment and tools, this is just equipment, small equipment replacements, as well as money to maintain those equipments. Next line item is fuel. So this was really a revolving door for us early on in the budget process. It went up, and then it started to come down.
And now it's going back up again.
Now it's going back up again.
Yeah, we expected it to go back up. That's why we left that. It seems high right now, but I bet you it'll be
Yeah.
that way by the end of the year.
But I mean, that's about right for right now.
Yeah.
Oh, is it already?
Yeah, the diesel is a good number, because diesel is still hovering around the mid fives right now, so I think we're good there. But even for this year, we were able to really look at that. Look at the cost of gas and really decide how many vehicles we're gonna be driving. If we need to cut, we'll cut. And we just manage it's just us managing the line item and the high cost of gas. But we feel that this is a good number right now, and we hope it sticks. So we have it at 5.25 and 6.50. But I had this number up almost $20,000 early in the year. It was pretty significant. So we're glad to see that number come down. And this one here is what they write here, $6,000 for just a truck, our vehicle supplies, our tractor supplies, and just repairs that may come out of the blue. So this line item went up about 12.5%, and not surprising, considering the cost of goods now. So we're at 58,111. Professional services, legal, we budget $5,000. We've never come close to spending that. So we just look at an overall average over 3 years, and if it stays within that 5 mark, we just leave it in there. Accounting, this is our payroll provider and our bookkeeping expense. The tax return, I should have taken that out of there because it's not in this line item anymore. It's down a little bit further. IT services. This is not a good number anymore.
Yeah, that went up like 14%, Keith. this year. We had a significant increase last year too.
Yeah, and it's because of the Microsoft fees, the 365.
So they're just passing it through.
The fees went up and Ramon with Daly said that he doesn't expect this to reoccur for the following year.
Okay.
So our IT expenses are at 16,830.
So that's still half of what it was. in,
It's
2019.
yeah, and we're very pleased with Daily Computer.
Yeah.
They're a class act.
Well, it's still significantly less than what we were paying Lakewood. So
Yes, Yep.
like saving $20,000 a year.
yep, exactly. This is, the next line item is our software and licensing. I just kind of identified those, our events calendar for the website. Our Scurry Pro, that's our security software in the website. Ultimate Member, that's our sign up for our membership to sign up. And as well as our Bitword and password vault at 180.
Where does Survey Monkey come in at? Who pays for that?
Survey Monkey is down in fees and licensing.
Oh, thank you.
And the next one is our website. Oops. And our website support is about $75 a month. We've allowed for about $800 throughout the year as a contingency for anything that may come up out of the ordinary for this line item. We actually had a couple thousand in this year's budget, but I'm finding that it wasn't needed at that high of a cost, so reduced it down to about 800. I think it's a fair number. Our total IT is $19,520. And I will say this. When we changed this entire line item structure last year through the finance committee, we wanted to really be very transparent with our IT system support, our software, and our web support. We wanted to differentiate between those line items to be very transparent. And this was a great step forward with that process.
Easier for you to track also.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so the next line item is our professional studies. Again, this is where the taxes get paid through this line item, and in 2023, we're going to do an audit for this year's financials, and so that's the $3,200.
And we have to do an audit
Yes.
because there's a change in CFO,
Mhm.
and it's also our third year.
And it's likely based on the fact that we're on a 3-year cycle, that every year this number's gonna be stay the same, because either we're gonna be paying for an audit, a reserve study.
Exactly. Or a wage or the wage study. So this will just be a revolving.
That was the idea, was
Yeah.
we'd have one professional study per year.
Per year, approximate cost of the same amount. Okay.
Yep.
And
I want to note also for anybody that might wonder, the reason that 2022 came in so high was because we weren't able to do a wage study in 2021. So in 2022, we did both a wage study and a reserve study, so that won't happen again.
That's right.
So he said this is the line where tax prep goes.
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
the accounting service that they get.
Yeah.
As a professional.
But they'll do the taxes along with the audit.
Yes. The next line item, 5,100, that's our insurance. And so let me just go over this with you real quick. So our package policy, in which our earthquake coverage is included, our broker actually said, no, I had about a 7%. She said, no, you need to do 10. And she gave me a $16,021 quote. Well, she sent me an email on Monday saying they got the quote back, and the quote came in at $16,018. So she was off by just a few dollars.
Pretty good.
And
So
so
it's the ball.
yeah, I'd call her a genius. But that's a good hard number. It's
Can we expect earthquake insurance to keep going up as we keep adding more years to the Cascadia subduction zone. Has nothing to do with the Cascadia. then.
It's replacement cost.
I was just gonna tell, oh, yeah, you took it right out of my mouth.
All right.
And that's what's driving some of these rate increases.
Yeah,
Your auto insurance, you're probably gonna see your auto insurance is probably going up because to replace your vehicle,
That's
it's gonna be more. I mean.
Right,
to
yeah.
and they're
fix it.
more expensive to replace because
Yeah.
they're so electronic now,
Right,
Yep.
you know,
okay.
ding the
Yep.
front fender and it's, you know,
Yep.
$4,000.
Yeah.
And so our umbrella excess liability, quoted at.
So what's a DNO go? What's, there's no material.
It's the trends that is
Oh.
driving the increase. So it's everything that's happening around us that is driving this. We can't be excluded, even though we don't have any legal costs. We're not in court. We're not using this, but it's the trends.
But
that are
if
driving
we
it.
are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
it's still, you're paying for lawyers' fees.
That's,
in
Understand
2005, DNO, we were paying in upwards of $18,000 annually, and that's when we were in court a lot back then. And so our DNO costs were up to 18.
it's reflective of,
Yeah.
okay.
Of the
Usage, you use it, you pay it. You're gonna pay for
So
it.
that's what that is. So if you
Yeah,
get into
exactly.
litigation,
Yep.
expect DNO to go up.
Which is why we actively pursue not getting into litigation.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I
Yeah.
get it.
And so we got auto going up just under 6%.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, fees and licensing, I actually pulled the software fees out of here, and so what's sitting here now is our vehicle licensing, our pool permit, which is about 4.25. Certification fees for the general manager, also our CAI annual membership, that's Community Associations Institute, that's at $375. Our Door King tele-entry annual fee and Survey Monkey is in here. I just didn't put it in this commentary.
Rick, CAI is the homeowners association. That's our national organization that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's on a theme of a lot.
And if you're really a bad person, we'll put you on the mailing list.
You get everything.
Appreciate it.
I mean,
They know this and.
they send, I mean,
Yeah.
every day,
Yep.
Yes,
I mean, they'll
indeed.
fill up your mailbox.
Next line item is education and trainings. We bumped that up to $2,000. We're gonna.
That's for your staff, right?
Yeah, that's just for staff.
Yeah, right.
And so we're going to be utilizing that a little bit in 2023.
We have some
Committee-
special training that's necessary.
Yeah.
As
So-
we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And our committees, Social Plus, is 1860, First Aid and EPC at 5128. Tree Committee is at 2500 and Publications is at 950.
Is this a Survey Monkey under publications then?
No.
Fees and licensing, I just didn't put it in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't put it over here.
Okay.
And I should have. So, all right, so that's where our committee budgets are at. And now,
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I'm curious about the 2,500 for the tree committee.
right, so this is their tree assessment project that they're doing along the common right of ways. They're having a third-party consultant come in and look at all of our trees along the right of way to tell us, one, is our trees a hazard? Do we need to mitigate those hazards right away? If so, we've got to take action on it. And so that's
I
what
mean,
this is for.
The Doug fir that fell in the common area behind my house.
Yeah.
And tried to take my house out. right? Root rot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you all suffer that too.
I mean, well, you know, when I got the tree committee down to look at it,
Mhm.
and, you know, it was hilarious. I said, come on down and look at the roots. There were none.
There were none.
What was keeping that tree up was a miracle.
Yeah.
All the other trees around it probably hold it up.
Well, and that's the other problem is that within, I want to say 50, 100 feet, something like that,
Yeah.
root rot spreads horizontally.
Yeah.
And that means the other alders that are back there
Yeah,
could very well be infected.
yep,
Um,
yeah,
So that's what this group is looking at.
that's what they're doing. They did their assessment this year. I think they're just wrapping it up, and, so we had to take a tree out here at the clubhouse based on that assessment. Right off the corner of the building.
Now, this doesn't, for the members' notification, this does not include an assessment of private property.
No, this is common
This is
only.
common only.
That's right.
I got a comment, Keith, that your estimated actual is budget, because I was just gonna make the comment that tree committee was budgeted $2,500 last year and they did not use it. But now I see we're projected to,
Yeah, right. So what I'm gonna do there, Donna, is I'm gonna, I tried to give them extra leeway to try and see if they're gonna spend that money. But when I run the final estimates at the end of October, you'll see this number come way, way, way down.
okay, that was my question, like, how did we reach the budget number if we know we didn't get that done? Okay,
Yep,
Okay.
because they were still in the process of doing that
Right.
study. I just wanted to give them the benefit of using the money.
okay, so that will increase our surplus by at least that much, okay, thank you.
Yes, it certainly will. Next is board miscellaneous. That's the board's little fund to, do what they want with
Yeah,
it.
we're not spending enough on the board miscellaneous. More than us.
You only spent $86, so.
The routine, when I asked about that, routinely, that expenditure was the meet the board.
Oh,
and-
expenses for that
We
evening.
used to go, yeah, we.
They
go out
buy
to
lunch.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, we use that for that.
I mean, it just,
Mhm.
it ain't much, but that's,
Gets people there.
It was yummy.
yeah.
It was good
And when
food.
was the last time they did that?
2019.
Oh, okay,
It was when I was running for the board.
Yeah.
and then you stopped it.
Well, 2020,
Yeah.
you can only guess why we stopped.
Yeah.
No, I understand, I'm just
So,
joking.
I mean, it's changed everything, so
You should get one through.
you will this year. And,
Yeah, okay, and then, I lost the train of thought, miscellaneous, this is a 6K contingency. That we have spread out over the last, the last 4 months of the year. And this is put in just for means of protecting our bottom line if we need to. I think a good example would be this year's expenses. If we had proper staffing, the wage study that wasn't budgeted and the carryover of the website that we had to spend this year, if this contingency would have covered and protected the bottom line, had we needed to use it. So that's what it's there for.
That's just for 1% of the budget.
Yeah.
That's.
and I've seen contingencies go as high as 10.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we do it on 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, if you look at the two things that drive our budget, okay,
Payroll
that's one, at 65%
and
of
survey.
the operating budget,
Mhm.
and roads, which is the driver in the reserve.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, but we have the best roads in Jefferson County, though. That's the difference.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, can you tell me the number of the excess budget that we're giving back to the membership from this year?
It was in the-
53,000. Oh, for
It's 50.
this year, that's going into this year is 58,000. 2021.
50, and I think it's on your income
Yeah.
page. You'll see that highlighted.
Well, wait, Keith, is he asking about what is built into our budget? Because that's from last year, that's from 2021.
I understand.
Is that your question, or do you want to know what we're gonna end this year with?
Okay, tell me what you're gonna end this year with.
Estimated 53,315, but I'd really like to point out that $40,000 of that is payroll.
Because we didn't have employees.
because we didn't have employees. 40,000 of that 53,000 is payroll. So it's
So-
not that we misbudgeted, it's we couldn't keep employees.
That's a good observation.
I understand.
Yeah.
My suggestion, since I can't make a motion, is that you increase the budget for reserves for an additional $60,000. And my reasoning behind that is obviously per law, if you have excess money at the end of the year because you over budgeted or whatever, that you have to give it back to the membership. Is that correct? Donna?
We
There
can do
are
that, but
options, so no, that's not necessarily 100% the truth. There are options. That has been determined as our best option, but there are other options. We could technically put that into the reserve, but it would require a whole lot of extra stuff. And could Dan help me out with this? It could possibly. What's
So
the-
my suggestion is if you budget the reserve an extra $60,000, and we'll just assume for a minute that everything goes according to Hoyle and you end up with an extra 51,000, 53,000. You just put it in the reserve.
the IRS
because-
won't let
You can't do that. That you cannot do.
If you read the rule on this 7604,
Okay,
that's exactly what they were trying to prohibit. Okay, and so they say, you either take your operating surplus, you either pay taxes on it, okay, or you have to return it to the membership for a vote of the membership, and it doesn't go into the very next year, it goes into the year after that.
Which we just.
but your reserves are part of your operating budget,
No.
right?
No,
No,
completely separate budget.
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Separate bank accounts, separate budget, separate everything.
And
We
but that's
actually.
why the doesn't want you
After
moving
20
money around. It's just avoiding taxes, and they say,
Yes.
it's very
yeah, that's
specific
the
on the
whole point of it.
IRS rule.
Okay,
As we found out. when
okay,
we-
never mind. That's.
Because
We
we
spent
wanted-
months on this in 2020 when we realized how much the surplus was gonna be in 2020. There were tons and tons of member comments, especially specific meetings towards this. We did an extensive review on what we can and can't do, and there are options, but we ultimately determined the best option was to continue returning it to the members the year after taxes are filed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so,
That's why I asked.
yeah, so our expense budget is increasing 4%.
Yay,
So
amazing.
really good expense budget.
Considering that inflation's been up
Yeah.
at 8%,
Yeah,
right,
it's-
we're only going up 4.
Yep. Let's see, so let's just take a little peek at the income. Just blow that up a little bit. Again, this is the carryover for the
Oh, that's
23 budget. It came from the 2021.
But that's still tentative, we won't know.
No,
until-
this is solid. This is it. This is.
That 5350 is a good number.
Yeah.
The 58,250 was from last year, it's from 2021, so it's not, it has not changed.
All right, so we'll just start with the lease income. Right off the table, our Clearwire lease agreement is being terminated as of December 31st. The American Tower is eliminating that, so that'll be taken out of our lease agreements.
Do we expect anybody to jump in now and fill that
We're-
void?
Chime in, Mark?
Sorry. Hold on, Marcus.
Well, we met with the fellow that we thought was gonna provide us with input on possibilities, to add on.
Mhm.
And he didn't come prepared to discuss that. He
Okay.
came prepared to discuss a whole nother subject, so we
Yeah.
didn't get anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
The guy we were talking to was actually,
trying to sell us.
yeah,
Yeah,
he was looking to,
right,
he was a deal maker
yeah, right.
and wanted to get a percentage of the deal,
Yeah,
and we weren't getting anywhere with him.
we just didn't buy it. So our current leases that we have on the tower is Verizon, and January through August is our lease is 22 $2,281. That's kind of a funny number there.
Too many significant.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
You look at numbers all day, you
Yeah.
kind of had a tendency to make these boo-boos. The lease will increase 5% on September 1. So Verizon increases at a rate of 5% annually in September. Our T-Mobile, which used to be Sprint, is currently at $930. That will, I have it projected to increase by 2% in February at $948. Now, with that said, we're in the process of amending that lease away from Sprint, and it'll be fully T-Mobile. And so I should be seeing a copy of that amended lease agreement tomorrow if he's true to his words. I've already talked to Mark about it. He's expecting it. And so we'll take a good look at those amendments, and all indications are suggesting that our monthly lease is going to increase substantially above the $900, $948. But I'm hesitant to say any numbers yet because I need to see them before I am happy to see them.
Here comes Verizon, was that 2814 or 2281? Do you even know?
I
Put a question
It
mark.
looks like it's 28.
think it's
Because
28.
of the 29 is the 5% increase.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The man did the math. Okay. So
Yeah.
2014. And then American Tower, we negotiate these Verizon T-Mobile directly, right?
We do.
Who owns the tower though?
Hmm?
Who owns the tower?
Well, American Tower, this is what we're trying to.
Should I get-
Don't look at me like
Should I
that.
I had to hear the answer to this question, because trust me, it didn't come out the other day in our conversation.
Right? I believe American Tower owns the structure.
But they lease
We
it.
own the property,
Right.
they own the structure. The leasers, which is Verizon and Sprint, I believe they work directly with American Tower,
Mhm.
but we, as the association, we negotiate the terms of the lease.
Okay,
Because we're negotiating the terms with T-Mobile now.
We negotiate a percentage of the revenue
Yeah.
is really what
Right.
we want.
yeah.
And
The
it's,
American Tower gets their cut too.
And we don't know
oh, yeah,
what
they
that,
get most of it,
we don't know what that is. We just have no
Sure, they
idea.
don't want to tell us. Huh?
but
So how much money are we losing from American Tower?
About 30.
16,000.
Say that again?
16,000
Here,
per year. Which is roughly 30%.
But that might be backfilled if we get. a-
Maybe.
Well,
Problem is, we can't guarantee anything. They tell us, we can't go out and lease space on that tower. It's not ours to lease space on.
But the
Right.
point being is, I don't think this is permanent. It's just a flux in the leasing.
Yeah,
People are always looking for tower rental when they have a.
the market.
There's a
here-
lot of, there's a lot of
Should be.
movement in these tower companies, though. I did some Google searches on American Tower and how they actually operate, and it's quite interesting. A lot of things are changing.
Yeah, a lot of parties.
Yeah, but you can't change the physics. With cells have to be on all towers, and we're at the top of a ridge, and
yeah.
we have a critical space there.
All right, the next batch of line items is our rentals and contract. This is our storage space rentals. That's equated at 34 cents per foot. Work for owners, we usually budget about $300 annually. We don't get a whole lot of requests to work for owners. 2021 we did. This year, we've got a little bit. We're actually gonna receive another $500 to that line item that we just invoiced out.
We just didn't have any
recently.
staff this year, you know, they could
Yeah,
consistently do
Well,
this.
but it also depends on the weather and how
Yeah.
many trees come down on somebody's property.
Right, yep,
Deer get run over or otherwise just die.
right,
And you know, 'cause
It's all about, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it just, the age, the age of our members is such that the kind of work that they do is not work that you or I are gonna wind up doing. Okay, you know, I'm not gonna haul a dead doe out of my backyard. You know,
right, yeah, that's $100 fee for us to do that.
Yeah, I mean, but,
Yeah,
you know, if you're in your eighties, that's $100 very well spent.
absolutely.
you know.
Especially if it's on your front porch.
How does that money get allocated? I mean, obviously Shane or Christopher or whatever has to do that. Is that during normal business hours?
It is normal business hours. They'll go over there, throw it in our dump truck. They'll let the landfill know they got a carcass and they'll give them priority dumping. And then we just invoice the member.
And
So those are just certain services
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, that's a service that we provide.
And every year we go through those services and we get approved.
As part of the fees and the fee structure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's done in.
That got approved a couple of months ago,
It did.
Yeah,
the
Yep.
new fee
And then-
structure.
if you look at it, it's, you get a big tree that comes down on your property.
Right.
I would not recommend that you call a tree service to come take it away. Cause they're gonna want four digits at least,
Yeah.
And
okay?
we charge what?
We charge $62 for chipper and operator. I think we charge.
Per hour.
Per hour, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Per hour. And then there's other fees for maintenance laborer, and then there's another fee for maintenance and truck. So if you need us to haul something to the dump, brush or something, we can provide that service as well.
So if a tree is on my property, we'll just say, and it falls in the street, that's an expense I have, or I know Shane's real good about
If,
getting it out of the road so people can actually drive, but how does that work?
yeah, generally what we do is we'll cut the tree back to the property boundary.
Okay.
Just to clear the road, and we'll go
Right.
ahead and clean up that part of the tree,
Right.
and then the other part will be your
The homeowner.
responsibility.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought, I just,
Get the road clear first.
yeah, I mean, it's very important.
Yeah.
He does a fabulous job, so
They're a good, hard ass,
apparently they seem to fall around. my
hard
neighborhood.
work.
And when that tree fell in my yard, well, only half of it fell in my yard, the other half fell in Griffin's.
Yeah,
Because the tree root was on common area.
Yeah.
The
And that's all
association
them,
picked it
honestly.
all.
that was
Because
so
they're-
our responsibility, yeah.
So if a tree falls, we need to pull it out to the common area on the roots.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I've got a
Exactly.
big dog.
Dig the hole too, that the roots came out of.
I want to see that.
There are other things that. What was it, the chipper, you know, for limbs
Mhm.
and whatnot, that fall in the street. All we ask is that you pull them over to the side of the street onto the right of way or out of the right of way. And so that keep the roadway clear. And then the maintenance folks will come along and make that disappear.
Yep. Yep.
You know, that's not supposed to be for the stuff that fell on your property, but it may be hard to differentiate when it's all in one pile.
Yeah, all right.
It's,
All right, the last one here is our small boat storage. And so those are the current rentals that we currently have down there at 6758. It's up a little bit.
did we raise the fees at all on the storage space rentals?
We did not.
Yeah.
I don't believe we did.
I thought we indexed it. The cost when salaries
We
went up.
we did index
Oh,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
you're right, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and the increase was minimal.
It was almost, yeah, it was
Yeah,
almost,
pennies,
yeah,
but
did not for much. Okay, new residence equipment, this is $370. This is just for new properties that purchase mailboxes from us, and so I believe it's a $93 fee that they pay us.
To purchase a mailbox?
purchase a
If you have an
mailbox.
empty lot,
Yep.
Rick, and you're building a home and you need to get a PO box,
There's a one-time
Oh,
fee.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
it's just,
okay.
yeah, it's just a one-time fee.
nothing existing.
Yeah.
And if you turn your keys in, you don't have to pay a new one. But if you don't turn your keys in,
Right. The next line item is facility access. This is transmitters, gate cards and keys.
Yeah.
And admin products, phone directory ads, fax copies, and all that good stuff. Which balances up to the expense.
665.
Yep.
086.
So that's the operating and expense. Let me go over the reserves real quick with you. Yeah, looks just like this. Yeah, it's just 8 by 11.
yeah, I got it. That's right.
All right, so what this shows us is our 22 budget, our estimated actuals for 2022 and our 2023 budget. In our estimated actuals, this is spot on 100%. This is what we're gonna finish the year out, 89,254. And, well, actually, the only thing that's gonna change this bottom line is our interest a little bit more interest we'll get for the next couple of months. But we're projected to finish right around 431,105. For 2023, we have several projects that are coming up. One is our road repair, and those are just, this comes every other year. And this is just to take care of any maintenance within the property where we have roads that are that need to be dug out or repaired.
You want suggestions, or will you, after you drive all the roads, you'll know? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I know where all of them are at right now. I know
I can
exactly.
see some dips. where
Yeah.
the roads.
Yeah, there's some on Cala Drive, there's some on Foxfield, so yeah, I know where they're all at.
Okay,
Hemlock Court is due to be paved,
all right.
and Pinewood Court is also scheduled for paving. These are accurate numbers, went out to bid with Lakeside Industries. It's been adjusted by inflation, so we're pretty confident that these numbers will hold. The next line item, we're gonna be replacing our expensive pool blanket. It's a thermal blanket. It's actually shredding right now, so it needs to be replaced, so we've moved that up.
What year was that originally in?
2008 is when we purchased that cover.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying, when was it scheduled for replacement?
In 2024.
So
So,
it's only coming up a year.
yeah, we missed it by a year, so.
That's fine.
Yeah. The next one is our New Holland tractor, 63,199. We purchased that originally in 2003. And so we've gotten well over 20 years out of that piece of equipment. We're due to get about 10,500 on a trade-in.
I was gonna say, you're gonna get good training.
Yeah, and you get good training when you take care of your equipment, and so that's what they quoted us on our existing tractor. The next line item is our mailbox gangs. This is Pinecrest 1. This is the smallest gang of boxes up there, so we'll be replacing those. And let's see, our piling and inspection. So I finally met with my vendor last week, and this is Evergreen Wood and Restoration. And so this project started with the 2012 reserve study that we had when Mike Derry did it, and he brought in Evergreen Wood Restoration, and they did a full review of our pier, and they put in what's called bore 8 rods. And so what that does is it sucks up the moisture and it preserves the wood. Log Houses evidently uses this product on a regular basis. So what they're going to do is they're going to come in the wee hours of the morning and put these rods about every 12 inches on all of our pilings, our vertical supports, and if all goes as planned as we feel that it will, because we feel that this structure is solid. 40 years old, and it is, we feel that it's very solid. With the treatments that we're initiating, we could potentially get an additional 30 years of life out of this structure, which is just incredible. But we'll know more when this project is underway and is completed. But it's a valuable asset. We need to take care of it, and this is the best way to do just that. Last item is our clubhouse exterior painting. This is my one and only bid that I was able to get to come and talk to me. I went out to bid to, I believe, 6 companies. 4 were no longer in business. 2 would not return my call, and I finally got a gentleman that came out and visited with me, and he gave me a bid of about 10,506. So the number that I already had in here was very close to this number. So
Is that bid valid for a period?
it
of
is.
time? Okay.
Yeah, I already called him and told him that I'll be in touch with him in the spring to get things set up. So this number is solid.
And tell you what your next career ought to be.
Yeah.
Just
Own a house painting company.
Right.
I think
Don't
that's-
do it yourself.
I guess that's why I'm having a hard time trying to get estimates at the
Yeah.
Port Townsend Yacht Club for
Yeah.
That's hard.
The same thing.
painting. Is that
It's
nobody will talk to you.
yeah, nobody.
He
returned
took
my
the
call.
one paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the kind of thing, you know, you wonder why people aren't getting into that business.
Right.
I mean, it's a low overhead.
Yeah. Yep. So our, yes, Scott.
Go ahead, finish that statement. And then
Our total expense for 2023 is estimated at 211,523.
So I have a question. I brought the 2022 budget with me because I had a reserve sheet there.
Sure.
You move some things out of years when, like the Polaris hot water heater
Yes.
and the propane boiler. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're moving targets depending on.
They-
Pool blanket. he used to-
They are, yeah, the pool blanket was scheduled for 24, but I had to move it up because it needed to be done now.
And then, so the ones that you had scheduled for 2023, you moved them
I moved them back a year.
back.
Yeah,
Okay.
so in those cases, you gotta kind of juggle them around.
Okay.
You're trying to balance between the years of what you do.
Right, okay.
Now, in looking at the reserve study, understand that there was another anomaly that Keith and I found the other day as we looked at it. When we did the last reserve study 3 years ago, you took all those projects that were out past 30 years
Mhm.
and you put them in year 30.
Yeah.
And you had to do that just because you had to have them on the list
That's right.
somewhere.
Yeah, you had.
So you didn't lose track of them.
Right.
Well, the next year and the next year, those projects just creep to the left,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And now, instead of being in year 30, they're in year 28.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Spread apart a little bit.
all of a sudden, we're looking at $1 million
Yeah. Oh my-
paving bill in year 28. And I'm looking at Keith and I'm going,
We can't afford that.
you know, well, we could, I mean, that's not the issue, but it's just, that doesn't make good management
No.
to build yourself that kind of a bubble going through.
Yeah.
And, what Keith did, and correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, they took some of these were paving projects, all of them. And he just spread them out over years 25 to 30. So now you see
More balanced.
a
it's
more balanced
approach.
expenditure
Yeah.
as it comes through the system.
Yep.
There's another graph that we did. And you don't have that with you.
No,
Oh, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did bring it.
What I had in graph was expenditures on one line, okay? Total reserves in another line,
Mhm.
okay? And then assessment,
Right.
okay? And when we first looked at it, the assessment line was below.
Oh, the cost of operating a reserve.
And we should have been losing money every year, and we knew that wasn't right.
Yeah.
So we added interest
Oh,
on the reserve fund back into that calculation, and now it crosses over.
Yeah.
You know, so you're seeing, you make money this year,
Yeah.
you lose money next year, okay,
Yeah.
that's what we really expected to see. But what was interesting is, we talked about when we first got here, and the comments Dan Nordland made about the power of compound interest.
Yeah.
I mean, it,
Yeah,
out in the years 20 to 20,
40 to 50.
20 to 30.
Yeah.
Years out.
Yeah.
The compound interest is doing this.
Hmm.
I mean, it just,
Skyrocketing, it's attributing to it, so.
yes,
Well, I noticed and I, 30-year reserve study is a lot of guesstimating.
Yeah.
Not even.
oh, yeah.
For the hiding and inspection, 2022, you had $7,000.
Yeah.
But the real number is 26,650. And I'm
Exactly.
just surprised that we're able to have a time-based reserve study and keep Carmen. Yeah, point of successful.
Yeah.
So well done.
Yeah, so for 2023, our beginning cash balance, again, 431,105, we're expected to earn. Hopefully, 2123 of interest, that's at 0.5%.
That's a what percent, 0.5?
0.5 currently. Interest rates haven't come up.
Well, so that's my question.
Yeah.
How is 2022, when you admittedly you have 100,000 less or so, but the actual interest is 405, how does it go up to 2,100?
Well, because we have to budget a specific percentage for our interest. Naturally, that interest didn't come to realization, so this is, I mean, again, it's an estimate. I mean, we can budget
I understand, but
zero.
that's a big difference between 400 and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it is, yeah.
The estimate is 3% a year.
Yeah.
Okay, and right now you can't get 3%.
Yeah.
And what we have to invest in.
Yeah.
Because we have to invest in government-backed securities
CDs, yeah,
by CCNR rule.
yeah.
Okay, and so given that the,
Wait a minute, you have to government-backed securities. Explain that.
Or CCNR.
CDs.
CD.
We
Okay.
invest. in
FDIC
short-term-
insured.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, FDIC, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
short-term CDs and
And so,
What is short term?
anywhere from 3 to 18 months, depending on our need for cash.
we normally won't go beyond 18 months.
Yeah.
Liquidity being the only
I
issue.
understand.
The reserve study makes an assumption, that the same one the Treasury uses. Which is over a 30-year period, you're going to see a 3% interest rate over the long haul.
Yes,
And yes, we know it's gonna go up and down and all around. But over 30 years, that estimate has been spot on. So are we gonna get 2255 next year? No. Not unless interest rates really go skyrocket on us. Because they gotta come up from nothing.
That's about what, 0.75%?
Yeah.
Not for what we're getting.
No, I know, I'm saying 2255 is probably about 0.75% of
Yeah.
2041.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's an actual estimate that we came up with.
Yeah.
But 3% is what's in the reserve study
For interest.
for interest every year.
Okay.
I mean, and that's the formula that every one of the reserve study experts uses. I mean, so we take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
We
we
realize.
know that we're not gonna get 3% today.
Mhm.
And so we have our reserves built so that we can take years 1, 2, and 3. Okay, of the 30 years and say, and we have it built in here that we can do an override of that 3% and say, well, for 2023 and 2024 and 2025. We're not gonna get 3%, where we may get 1% or 0.5%. And so we do an override of that 3%, which is why we got this 2001-23. It overrides, and so it's built in so that the first 3 years is at a lower percentage of interest earned, and then the remaining 27 is at 3%. So that's how we're able to account for the lower interest rates. Interest earned, I should say.
Yeah.
And we can look at this a little deeper. Lost my train of thought. Okay, outflows, 211,523. Our assessment revenue for 2023 is 205,000. That's per our reserve study recommendation. We're estimated at finishing the year off at 426,707. And that is our reserves. This is what I was telling you about. This is, and I usually don't go to this page because it's just a data entry page, but I will show you this. So this is our reserve. This is our 27-year investment earnings at 3%. This is a 3-year reserve interest override that we say that if our interest earns is not going to meet that 3%, we could override that 3% and be more realistic of where our earned interest is going to be. And if we feel that interests are at 3%, then we just put a 0 there, and then it's at 3% across the board. So this is what I was telling you about, and this calculates the entire process.
We're gonna talk about the assessment.
I will. Let me just go to this one, and then we'll wrap this up real quick.
Let me sneak in here, because I noticed in 2022 Hemlock Court wasn't even scheduled for
Right.
2045.
Yeah,
There's been deterioration and
it
moved up.
It moved up. We had to move it up. And that's what we do.
You're aware of it, but
Yeah.
it's not a typo. It is
No, it's
Hemlock
not a
Court.
typo.
Thank you very much.
All right, so this is kind of condensed of our operating budget, our 22 budget, our estimated actuals, and our 2023 budget. And what's really most important here is, I look at anyway, and I'm just going to buzz here, but this is our projected assessment credit for 2024. Now this number will come down only because there's going to be some line items that just aren't going to be spent. So we could probably get this down into the $40,000 figure. I would assume.
Well, and we also did replace two employees, so that should
We
eat some
did.
of it up too, right? Keith?
Well, and that's why this number went down from
Right,
earlier. It was at 71,000, and so we reduced it down to 53,000 when we added the 2 new employees. And now there's
Okay.
other ones like
so it was
that.
there was even more discrepancy between budget and actual prior to that. Yeah,
So
So this would be what would be paid in 2024.
exactly, yes. All right, so here's our assessment. Let me just zoom in on this a little bit. All right, so for our lots, homes, and condos, operating expense, 866.61. Our reserve contribution, $324. Total assessment unadjusted, $1,190.61 for 9.91%. Offset that by the prior year operating adjustment of $88.77. The total amount due is $1,101.84. The timeshare, $227.57. Reserve contribution, $50.96. Unadjusted assessment, $278.53. for an increase of 6.56%, offset by the prior year adjustment of total amount due $259.78.
And we're lucky that we still get our timeshare owners paying their assessments somehow, some way.
Good news on that front too, because we just received another timeshare assessment, leaving us only one delinquent assessment for 2022.
All right.
That's awesome.
I'm excited to hear that. Hey, even Donna's dog likes that.
Empty house, timeshares owners. Dead or,
The parents are in an assisted living. We found the daughter. Police
No
found the
stay.
daughter, yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, so,
mean, that's usually the reason it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So there's your budget
okay.
and,
Do we have any questions on the chat?
zero.
Or do we have any participants?
We have, let's see,
So there's 4 of us.
7 attendees and just us here. So,
I'm really surprised.
No,
Nothing in the questions and answers, and nothing in the chat.
there's nothing, it's silent.
Keith, I'm sorry, I don't have the greatest view. Can I ask how many people are in the audience today?
7, yeah, 7.
You mean here in the clubhouse, Sean, or?
There's 7 on Zoom, Keith. How many do you have in the clubhouse?
7 on Zoom and 1 in the audience here,
Okay, so 8.
live.
and so there's no other participants other than the 8.
That's right.
Okay. We have one comment from the membership.
We just need to close the loop. I think.
Yeah, no, and because I said we would do this. This is. Just want to find the right piece of paper here. No, that's okay. Here it is. This is a comment was submitted by Patsy Mathis. And she says on 2023 assessments, per the 2023 draft budget submitted to the board, assessments to Kettle Point lots would increase 10% from 1083 to 1189. Okay, that was an earlier version of the budget that she was looking at, so the numbers are a little wrong, but she's in the right book. The numbers are in the right ballpark. You know, those are minor adjustments. As stated last year, Kettle Point assessments are significantly higher than Cape George, Port Ludlow's, and Port Ludlow Beach Club. The KPOA board has a fiduciary responsibility and primary allegiance to its membership. Consider reducing the 2023's operating budget $30,000, a very doable goal.
Donna, you want to comment?
Well, I'm sure. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, the dues that are paid at Cape George, we had a meeting with Miss Mathis back in November last year. And spent an exorbitant time discussing the other HOAs and how much they charge. There is no other HOA. Port Ludlow and Cape George, you could not own a home in either one of those locations where your dues are less than Kayla Point. It's the way they separate it out. So these are not apples and apples comparisons. We've also done a number of other things. The main increase for KPOA is in the reserves. We've increased the reserve contribution by $27,000. We budget our operating expenses. We budget on actual numbers of costs. Reducing anything out of the operating budget would need to be the removal of one or more amenities. So if we have suggestions of removing $30,000 out of our budget, please tell us which amenities you would like to see go away. The same person is normally requesting for pool hours to be extended. We've seen exorbitant cost increases for the maintaining of the pool, and the clubhouse is one of our highest cost factors. That's my response.
Thank you, Donna.
They don't take phone calls, so can this be
Any discussion?
I would think that we should close the loop with her. You know, not just leave it hanging like it is. I believe it's saying email. Or somebody close the loop with her on that email.
We don't normally close all those loops on correspondence like that. I mean, this is in the record. This is on the record.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised she's not up there. I don't think
She was earlier.
Yeah, I know.
And,
Well, but the other thing that we're neglecting is, first of all, we asked for these comments to be provided to us by September 28th. And the reason for that was so that the finance committee had an opportunity to look at these comments and address them. You know, the comments were sent literally 37 hours prior to this meeting today. I had no opportunity to even check the sources of what she's saying, had no opportunity to meet with the finance committee, and no opportunity to discuss this with the board. So to me, this particular comment that was sent to us does not require any feedback whatsoever.
I did talk to Patsy yesterday. She called me and we were on the phone for about an hour and a half. And I explained to her that, you know, throwing out a $30,000 number with no other indications of, you know, where we should take that money wasn't particularly useful. So she's gotten that feedback. You know, if you don't give me some idea where to look, just say take 30,000 out of the operating budget. You know, remember, I'm one of the guys who put the operating budget together with Keith and Donna and the finance committee. And so I believe the numbers that are there now. And
we cannot compare our assessments to any other HOA on the Olympic.
Well,
Games.
if we do, it would be a homeowner comparing their assessment to a homeowner in Caleb Point. And if you do that, we're less. I checked it all out. Last year, we sat down with Patsy and we tried to explain it to her. You know, the other thing on here that she talks about is, you know, lowering employee medical. Well, we lowered it by 12.1%. We also, you know, we've also made changes to increase the employee contribution into their medical. Does she want us to do this overnight? I just, you know, again, the entire reason for that September 28th deadline was to give us an opportunity to review what concerns our membership has and to be able to address them. The link that she provided saying that what medical insurance was, the most updated number on that link was 2021. You can't compare 2021 medical to 2023 medical. You can't. And then her numbers where she says KPOA are incorrect. I don't know where to go with this.
Well, I guess, and I'm going to talk here for a minute. Can you guys all hear me?
Yeah.
Where I'm going with this is that it's the annual meeting. It's a random Tuesday. Our voters they don't vote for anything anymore. They can't vote this budget down. And we can say we're elected. There's been one contested election in the last however many, decade. And we're disparaging one of our members with our tones. And we literally have 7 members in. I don't agree with what Patsy is saying, but I think that us just questioning whatever the heck anybody, not questioning, but it just doesn't feel right. I'm sorry. I think that we need to, it doesn't matter if it's after the October or the September 28th deadline. This is a lot of money. I think that this is a really good budget. Donna, you did an incredible job doing this, as did the others working on it. I fully agree with what's in this budget, but this process, we have 7 people in the audience. We have one person in the clubhouse. Like this, I don't know how this feels right to anyone.
Well, Sean, I can tell you that in 2019, for that budget, the room was packed because people were opposed. There were a lot of problems with that budget. People were opposed. And that is when we found out that it needed 301 members in order to turn the budget down. I look at this right now, quite frankly, is And the talk on the street is that most people have looked at it, they think it seems reasonable, they don't think it's increased more than what inflation is, they have considered the good job that the finance committee has done. And, you know, just not gonna worry about it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you guys have done a tremendous job. I think that Calipoint has been, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back here and talk holistically about this. But I think that the number of board members really ties into this overall discussion right now. Our members don't have a choice in the budget. Like, we can say they do, but the fact of the matter is, we're never gonna get to that 301. It's never gonna happen. And so, and yeah, I couldn't make this meeting at noon today, so I apologize for that. But I see that we voted that we're gonna open it up and we're gonna try and fill one of those positions really quickly. And to me, that's gonna usurp what I was trying to suggest, and that we find a way that we get some damn contested elections, because right now, nobody has a say in anything in Calipoint. I mean, literally, we've had one contested election in how long? And
This is
so
the second one in 3 years.
this isn't the second one if we appoint all of the people. We can say it's contested, but if we have 5 people run for 3 positions and then we appoint the other 2, and then we're
But
looking.
that's the rules that we all signed up for. We didn't
Didn't we
make those
talk
up.
about this last month, that we were gonna have a discussion this month? And I'm sorry, I don't check my email all so often, Dan. I saw that you emailed on Sunday night and with plan that think that, very well thought out. But yeah, it's all what we all signed up for. But if we're signing up for this, we're just raising our hands and saying we're gonna be the rule makers, not we're voting for anything. Or not that anyone's voting for us, at least. Yeah, I'm sorry, it doesn't feel like democracy. And I think that we really need to, again, this budget, I totally agree with, I'll vote for it, but this process seems completely broken, and I'll stop grandstanding now.
We have some motions we need to take.
Yeah, let me read Dale Moses. He had a comment, and it's just he says, Dan, you should remind folks of how the budget gets approved, i.e. the negative vote aspect. The next comment he made was a $30,000 budget reduction would have to be a % reduction in servicing goods by definition. What would we reduce? So kind of left it open-ended. And then Libby says, I think you all did a great job with the budget. Okay, with that said, Dan?
We have 2 actions we have to take,
Yes,
or at least I think it's two separate actions.
yes,
To approve the budget and then send it to the membership for ratification.
absolutely. Yep. To approve the 2023 budget, adopt the 2023.
Adopt, yeah, thank you.
Yep,
Get the right word.
adopt the 2023 budget for ratification of the
No, and
KPOA.
send to the membership for ratification. We don't ratify it, the membership does.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah, we're gonna do that as one,
yes,
okay?
Yeah.
Can you read that back again, please?
adopt the 2023 budget sent to the membership.
Okay, and start out with,
Did you get that? Go ahead.
the board resolves to adopt the 2023 budget as submitted and send to the membership for ratification.
At the annual meeting.
No, 2 separate meetings.
Thank you.
It's one vote, but 2
Yep.
separate meetings.
Yeah.
For ratification. And if you want, you can go per 64.90.525. But that just gets people all confused because.
Yeah.
They go to read that and it's. Boy, you talk about. Bureaucratic dollar. You would.
And so you're making that motion?
I can make that motion, yes.
Did you make the motion? Is that what we're?
Well, no, we're making sure we got the motion correct.
Okay.
Dan, what have you got?
I have.
Felice, what have you got? Somebody give me,
The board resolves to adopt the 2023 budget as submitted and send to the membership for ratification.
I'll second that.
good. Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
Dan made the motion.
Yeah, and Mark. Second.
Any discussion? Gene, Sean,
The date of the ratification meeting.
December 13th.
December 13th.
That's.
same with the annual meeting. Okay, no discussion heard. Anybody on the, Patsy?
Oh, that's.
Well, this discussion's only for the board members.
Yes.
It's not discussion with the people on chat.
No, this is
Just
with
the
the
director's making a.
Yeah, Sean and
Yeah,
Gene.
so only Sean and
Okay.
Jean.
Okay, the, from what I've heard, I am absent objection to unanimous consent. The motion passes as written. I assume there was no objection,
No objection.
none heard.
Okay, so, great, thank you. One last, looks like a Q&A here from Patsy Mathis. Mark, I'm okay not needing to close loop.
Okay.
Okay, and then she went on to say, inaccurate, CFO is including Cape George water assessment. No, I'm not expecting overnight results. My bigger intent was APP 10. We need to improve tone, and that's her confidence.
Did you say the second action the board has to take today?
No, they combined it into one.
Yeah. Yep.
We approved that sent to the,
Okay.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the budget presentation meeting.
seconded. And there's no discussion.
Thanks, Greg.
And one announcement, just in case you're a glutton for punishment, the Mariners lost 8-7.
I saw that.
Three-run home run.
I saw that. Yeah, yeah, all right.
Can I go home with somebody because my house is gonna be uninhabitable?
All right, see you guys.
Oh.